Hello, good afternoon. Happy Monday. Hope you are having a great day so far. Yesterday, when I did the Facebook Live on coaching versus um, counseling, it gave me an idea that maybe I just go ahead and do a whole series on that. And so today I'm going to talk about coaching versus mentoring. And this one is probably a little less common and maybe one that gets mixed with a lot of professions easily, in that you could easily be coaching and then doing a little mentoring. But that's not really what coaching is, even though there may be some mentoring mixed in. And usually that should just be a hat that's taken off. So with mentoring, the way that I see mentoring as a distinction, of course, in today's world, lots of people call themselves different things, whether they're calling themselves a coach or a consultant or whatnot. There's a lot of gray area in between those, like there was with counseling. But in general, here's how I see it as different. First of all, with mentoring, often with mentors, you have been there before. Sometimes people come to coaching and they're like, oh, have you coached this profession before? Do you know my business? And that's important to people because they want to know that you're going to understand what's going on for them quickly, which makes sense. But in mentoring, you're really working with someone or meeting with someone who has been there and done that. So if you are in sales and you have a sales mentor, it's someone who is a very successful salesperson. If you're an executive and you have an executive mentor, it's someone who has been an executive in a company that parallels where you have experience or want experience, and they're mentoring you to get where they have been. And because of that, it sets a mentor to do a few things. Number one, because they've been there before, they're typically sharing advice and suggestions. So you come to a mentor relationship and you're like, oh, how do I do this? Or what would you do about this? And so a mentor relationship typically is sharing advice and suggestions on how you can be successful like this person was successful. Sometimes a good mentor will ask questions like you get in coaching, but a lot of times, because it's frankly easier to just give suggestions and everybody loves ideas, you actually get endorphins and chemical hits in your brain when you're creating ideas. So it's fun for the person, as anyone, to be creating ideas and suggestions and whatnot. So advice giving and suggestion giving really falls underneath the hat more of mentoring. Also, because a mentor has been there before, they typically have a framework. Now, some people may argue with me and go, oh, well, they have the ability to be open about things. Yes, that's possible, but typically when you've gone through something before, you just have a framework or a lens in which you see the world through that you already have a perspective about. And that happens even in coaching. Like sometimes people ask, like, if I want to niche and focus just on coaching insurance people or just in coaching real estate people. And I really don't want to, because you almost become too familiar with the business. And then when people have challenges and problems, you stop listening and you shortcut to, oh, you should try this, you should try this, have you done this, have you done that? Because there's a framework or a lens in which you see things through. This can be really helpful when you're trying to accelerate a process, or when you're just looking for feedback, or when you're just looking for a little quick tools and references in a business. A mentor can be very valuable. One of my favorite organizations that I often recommend is SCORE. SCORE has chapters all over the United States. I'm not sure if they're beyond the United States or not. Of course, the quality of the SCORE organization varies from location to location, but typically SCORE is an organization that brings together executives and leaders who have been in business a long time. They're seasoned, they're trained, they're very qualified, and that they want to give back to the community. They want to volunteer and help others. And so they volunteer, and then they get hooked up with people who come to SCORE looking for a mentor. And they sit down with them, and if you need to go through your P&L, they'll go through your P&L. And if you want to talk to them about sales strategies, they'll talk to you about sales strategies. Of course, there's different types of mentors in the SCORE organization, so you get connected with the right person and the right experience. But mentors can be very wonderful and valuable and significant, and that can be a really great tool and resource. Important though, how coaching is different from that is coaching really is about exploring new territory and what's important to you. Instead of saying, oh, I've been there, I helped this company get started and off the ground, here's what you should do. That's not really valuable. It can be valuable to a certain degree. I always hear the people's comebacks and arguments in my head as I'm talking. But oftentimes, more people want to know, this is my business. This is what's important to me. Here's how I want to design my business. Not everybody is the same. And it's important. And one of the special things about coaching is it allows it to be customized and to be personalized, so that when you're developing something, it's not developing it based on how everybody else set it up. It's based on how you need to set it up, based on your personality, your values, your time, your interest, your what's the word? The necessities or the logistics of what you need. You want to be working during the day, not on the weekends, whatever it is. So coaching allows you to explore and set it up based on where you're at, rather than where I have been or my experience if I was mentoring. Also, coaching asks questions, and good coaching really, I'm currently in the process of studying to get my MCC, which is a Master Coach Certification. And really the essence of the MCC is removing all of the lesser or more basic coaching skills, where sometimes we do fall into advice giving. And a lot of times our clients like that. They want the banter and the dialogue and they want feedback. But really, good coaching is asking questions. And it's asking questions so that it can pull from your mind what's important to you. And what's really amazing is when you come up with your solutions, they are deeper, more long-lasting, and more appropriate and fitting than if I sat here and gave you suggestions. And like I said earlier, sometimes it's hard to not do that. Sometimes you want to give suggestions. I'm an idea person. I love coming up with ideas. But I find, and especially as I've been in this process, I was doing a session the other day, and what the gal came up with through this process of just asking questions was a completely different transformational place versus if we had gotten into a more tactical conversation and just trying to solve the problem. The last thing with a coach is more open and unattached. And what I mean by that is we're not trying to get you someplace except to your goals and to your objective. And while a mentor also wants to get you to your goal and to your objective, a coach doesn't have this lens or framework in how you're going to get there. The only lens or framework that they're using is what is best for you, what is right for you, given who you are, what's important to you, your personality, style, strengths, and all of that. How are you going to get there? And so a coach who's doing a good job would be more open and unattached to how you get there, rather just holding that bigger agenda of where you want to go, and then the smaller agenda of what's important to you today to move you forward in that process. And again, a coach and a mentor are both going to have the same heart and desire for you to be successful. They both they both are going to be very present with you. Maybe a couple other little differences. Coaches are often paid. Mentors are often volunteered. They're volunteers. Coaching is more frequent, typically. Mentors, that might be a monthly engagement. Sometimes if you have a person who is really willing to invest in you, they might meet a little bit more frequently. But typically a mentor is more of a check-in, encouragement relationship, versus a coach is really digging in there with you. They're a strategic thinking partner for you as you're running this race of whatever you're up to. So neither one is better than the other. They're just different. And depending on what you're looking for, that's how you would pick. Sometimes I tend to also have a couple people who are studying to be coaches who I coach each year. And so then they may want some mentoring from me, which is fine, but then we just need to make that distinction when we're coaching versus when we're mentoring. Because again, mentoring is a little bit more telling. And I'll just say as a coach, and what I've seen for people, the transformation happens when you can just ask the questions and they come to their own conclusions. It's very powerful. So mentoring can be really quick, solution-oriented, and very supportive to have that confidence of someone who's been there before you. But coaching also provides a wide open canvas, a blank canvas for you to paint your own picture. All right. Thanks everyone who joined, Jenny and Mike, and whoever watches later. Have a great day.